Hi, this is Mike Spivey. I'm a partner at the Spivey Consulting Group, and I wanted to take about 5 to 10 minutes to answer the question that we hear a lot, which is, do softs matter to law schools? So they do matter, and I think they matter more than people realize. And this is coming from our firm, which has said ever since our existence that if you're going to put resources, time, money, or otherwise, into any one area, it should be your LSAT score, right? That's not a soft, it's quantifiable. The second most important part of admissions is your undergraduate GPA or your LSAT computed GPA. But because I think we say that so much, because data is so easy to look at, hardly anyone ever, from an applicant standpoint, you're not going to lawschoolnumbers.com and looking at people's softs, that I think softs are they're not fine-pointed enough. So let me define what a soft is. A soft is any non-quantifiable information that better describes who you are as an individual. That's sort of a technical sounding way of saying it. So let me just say that softs are the things that demonstrate the living, breathing human being behind the numbers, behind your numbers. Anything behind your numbers that make you pop out as a living, breathing human being, that make you memorable, are a soft. And what you want to do in admissions is you want to stay on the minds of the person that reads your application. Almost every single person listening to this podcast is going to be a splitter for some schools. You're splitting the medians, and that's where soft matters. I talked about this in my previous podcast, but what's the tipping point going to be when you have a 168 and a 3.78? So do 50 other people on the top 10 schools waiting list. Why would they take you with your 169? There was an era when I heard all the time online and in emails, hey, Spivey, my name is Joe. I'm a law school applicant. I have weak numbers, but I have amazing softs. I actually don't hear that so much anymore. My concern now for you all is the exact opposite of what we hear, which is this. I don't know what to write about. I've had such a typical life. I have nothing unique. I have nothing special. If you're listening to this podcast, my guess is for many of you, that thought has gone through your head. I don't know what to write about. I have such a typical life. For the vast majority of you who's had that thought, you actually have something incredibly special to write about. It might not be this amazing story. For example, I read many years ago when I was on the other side of things, an application of someone who had founded an elephant refugee camp, for lack of a better word, in Afghanistan. Okay, so that's an amazing soft. You don't have it, nor do I. But look no further than our YouTube channel, which you're probably at right now, if you're listening to this podcast, and look for the Georgetown Law School interview. Her soft was that she was an auctioneer. That's not amazing, but it's differentiated. And most of you, our firm's job as a firm is to find the differentiating factors within you and present those to law schools. The living, breathing part of you that makes you a human being. I'm going to give you one more example, and this is sort of on the borderline of, it's not amazing, but to me it sort of illustrates perfectly what a soft is, what softs matter. We had a client who was a white guy from a well-educated, white-collar family. He went to good schools, went to a great college, had a good GPA. But what he also did when he was a freshman in college is he applied for a job and accepted a job on a ranch farm in a very rural part of Colorado. There were only 2 other workers there. They were both immigrants from Mexico, so Mexican cattle farmers, ranchers. They only spoke Spanish. So for 4 straight summers, not because this guy was planning on applying to law school, then here's the gist of it, because it was a part of his fabric, his being. He wanted to challenge himself. He spent 4 summers on this ranch in Colorado only speaking Spanish, which I'm assuming he's self-taught through knowing these other 2 ranchers. Wrote his personal statement about it. That was his soft. Softs do matter because they make you stand out. And when that admission person is giving your file a rating, if they're rating your file 1 to 5, 1 being admit, 5 being deny, 2 being, low admit, 3 being waitlist, what you really want to do is, if they're leaning toward giving you a 3, which is waitlist, you want something in your application that's so memorable to them, whether it's being an auctioneer, whether it's having military experience, anything that fills in the blanks, that fills in what's left behind the numbers. Those things on your application make more of a difference than I think many people realize. And I can say this with a good deal of confidence, because I'm going to give you a data point I've never given before. We compile data from our 2018 clients. Keep in mind, our professional responsibility as a firm is to find out the uniqueness in our clients, and we get to know them over time and then help them present that uniqueness to law schools. In 2018, our clients exceeded or greatly exceeded the admit rate at 29 of the top 30 law schools. And who do we take as clients? We take splitters. We take reverse splitters. So softs matter. And after you're done rocking the LSAT, finding quiet time to think about your life, and whether it's 3 years ago or 15 years ago, things that you have done to differentiate you matter more than you realize. Again, this was Mike Spivey, the Spivey Consulting Group, and I thank you for listening to our podcast.